Coming up on this episode of Don't Panic, we talk about Amazon willing to sell you anything, anywhere, anytime. We also talk about those clever Sony bastards. Uber making another billion. We talk about Firefox for iOS, Fiber in Austin, Steam going live, and so much more. It's a fantastic episode of Don't Panic, and it begins right now. This is Don't Panic, episode number 73, recorded December 8th, 2014, on live steaming, Amazon Now, and iFirefox. Yes, as they giggle at the cleverness of what I've put together. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Don't Panic, the technology podcast, now available on Laserdisc. I'm your host, Sean Jennings, and I'm joined by the 8-track and Betamax of technology. They're never obsolete in our eyes. It would be Colby Rabidou and Dan Miller. Gentlemen.
Is that a repeat?
Is
it?
I don't think so, but you can tell me I've done it. I'm really like scraping at this point.
We need to get the YouTube auto transcriptions. I wonder if we can just download those en masse so we can do text search when I make assertions like this.
Exactly. Compile a list.
That
would be helpful.
Great, actually.
That would be helpful. How are you gentlemen doing?
I'm okay. I wish I was the Laserdisc of technology.
Laserdisc, you know what was really funny? I'll tell a quick story. So, on Amazon Black Friday, they had Blu-rays really cheap. So, I picked up Spaceballs, one of the best movies ever made by Mel Brooks, if you have not seen it. I love that movie.
Although, keep going.
And I was listening with the commentary track by Mel Brooks, and in it he references that commentary track was recorded in 1996 for the Laserdisc edition of Spaceballs, which cracked me up.
Whoa.
So, that was my Laserdisc story.
That's pretty hilarious.
Colby is laughing pretty heartily right now. You can't see it, and you can't hear it in his voice.
But he's doing it.
He's amused.
You know, Colby. Well, what's funny is, Dan, I got to see Colby this week, and you got to see Colby this week. But we didn't get to see each other, Dan. What is up with this?
You need to start coming to New York more often.
I would, but I hear it's a terrible cesspool filled with drug addicts and hipsters.
No. That's New Jersey.
Oh.
This is totally different.
That's the image you project to keep the unwanted people out.
Right. We can't make it too desirable. Otherwise, there would be even longer lines for cronuts and ramen burgers.
I totally buy that. Yes, I think we will have to make an appointment to make that happen. But first, we have to do this show. This is Don't Panic. We do this every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, on our website, don'tpanic.io. There you will get all kinds of really excellent content, audio, video, all of our past episodes, and you will get them in HD video and decent audio. You also get them on iTunes, RSS, Stitcher, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. I also want to remind everyone we are doing our sticker pack giveaway. I remember to actually grab the stickers so you can see what we're giving away. These are the sheet version. You won't get a whole sheet. You'll only get one. Dan and Colby can't see it because my video isn't working, but you at home can see it. I've got these nice change mode stickers. I've got the, what else do we have here? We've got the Don't Panic album art stickers. I mean, they're glossy. I mean, they're lovely. They adhesive to things. I think that's
high quality.
They're really nice. So I recommend you get some, and they're free, and I'm going to send them to you. Now, I had someone ask me, what if I don't have Twitter? How can I enter? So, got a new, easier to enter way.
Yes, who asked you this?
Yes, Dan. Some people don't have Twitter. And so a new way to enter, if you go to coffeeandbeer.tv, there is a big link on the front page. Enter our giveaway. It's also coffeeandbeer.tv/giveaway. There's a form. Just put in your name and email address, and if you're one of the first 20 or so people, I will contact you back, and you'll get some free stickers in the mail. So that's even easier than tweeting, though we still recommend you tweet at Don't Panic Show as well. So thank you for doing that, participating. Let's move along and talk about the news. I will ask you gentlemen this as I do every single week. Any particular story you wish to talk about?
And
then like
all you, Colby. All you.
And like every week, there is stunned silence when I ask that question. Okay, I will pick one. I will put you out of your misery, and I will pick the first. But please be prepared with a follow-up.
I know what one I want to talk about.
All right, Dan.
We should maybe save it for later. It's a good one.
All right, well, I'm just going to pick. This has gone on long enough. I want to talk about Steam.
I like Steam.
Okay, you like Steam.
I like steamed pork buns
you
also.
Like hot water. Okay.
Yeah.
Steam.
I like dumplings. Is that the thing I'm thinking of?
No, this is... No.
How much can you like them if you don't even know what they're called?
Pot stickers? Dumpling? Yeah, I guess dumplings is...
Anyway, speaking of Steam, by Valve, the video game platform, you may be familiar with this on your PC or your Macintosh. Well, they're very popular, and they launched this past week in beta a new feature that allows you to stream Steam games live over the internet in a direct competition to everyone's favorite Twitch.tv. This new service, as I said, is in beta, but it uses their own video hosting platform. It's not with a partnership through YouTube or Twitch or anything. They host it themselves. And it's designed for you to watch your friends, as they say... there's also a public option that lets anyone view a game stream, although you have to be signed into Steam to watch it. You can not only use it from the Stream client, but also from either Chrome or Safari. At present, broadcasts are only live. You cannot archive them and share them later. And to use the feature, you'll have to sign up for the beta version and agree to all the things that come with that. Does this sound to be of... any excitement or interest to you fellows? Steam competing with the presumptive incumbent Twitch.
People who use Steam exclusively will use it, but I don't think it's going to be as big as Twitch. Like, ever. Because it'd have to work on everything. Maybe. Although I guess most of Twitch's audience is for people playing PC games, I bet.
Is it?
I bet. Because I've dived into this a little bit. Like, all the competitive, super competitive games that people watch, like League of Legends and Dota 2, those are all PC games. And, like, the PewDiePie is all PC games, I think? Although I don't know about that. But that's YouTube, not Twitch either. I think he's on Twitch. Anyways, I don't think this will be a huge deal. But it might be... if you were playing Steam, you would use it if you wanted to, I guess.
Okay. Interesting.
I think it would be...
no, go ahead.
I think it would be... I think this is less intended to be a Twitch competitor, because if it was, it would have a lot more options at launch. I think the idea is, and I think Steam has done a good job of this, cultivating a community within their service. And I think they've done that better for video games than most other companies that provide the games. And this is just an extra feature for that community, rather than a platform for which to broadcast to the world. And I think that's really smart of them, because then they're going to keep that engagement, and they're going to keep people in the Steam community buying Steam games. So I think that's really smart on their part.
Yep.
Cool. I wonder how, like, Twitch... So you can Twitch from the PS4 now, right?
Yeah.
Can
and
you Twitch
Xbox
from the Xbox? Oh, okay.
Yes, you can.
Nice.
Yeah, Twitch has done a really good job of being.
You can Twitch Can you Twitch from Android?
I have no idea. I think. Oh goodness, I'm going to make a mistake and say this wrong. I think they partnered with one or two select games and said these are kind of our test partners. But I don't think you can more broadly. But I might have just pulled that out of my ass. So don't quote me on that.
You do tend to do that.
Yeah, it's a bad habit. Someone should stop me.
You're reckless.
So reckless.
So, Sean. Hello.
Yes, I'm listening.
Oh, I want to talk about Amazon Seamless.
Yes, let's talk about Amazon. I feel like we don't talk.
Yeah.
Speaking of the company that bought Twitch, let's talk about Amazon. The company that seems to be bleeding money left and right has decided to enter a few new avenues of delivering stuff to you, the business they seem to be in. We'll start with the one Dan mentioned, and that would be that Amazon entered the food delivery game, competing directly with companies like Seamless, Grubhub, and Delivery.com. they quietly launched online takeout and delivery via Amazon Local this past week. It's only live in Austin for now.
Seattle.
That's totally what I meant to say.
You got to confuse with Google Fiber.
So much cool stuff is launching that I can't get here. The service is
another reason to come to New York, except in this case it won't help.
Well, yes, but you do have a lot of cool stuff. I will give you that. Just visiting Colby and him being able to order barbecue on the internet and have it delivered to the house was a amazing moment for me. That was a big deal. That
was tasty.
So
it is a game changer.
I was happy about that. And now you can do it through Amazon on their website as well as through its Android and iOS apps. It's very similar. Put in your address, choose what you want, and then pay with the credit card linked to your Amazon account. Dan, are you excited for this?
Yeah, this is going to be great. I really don't like Seamless, and that other thing I recommended, I don't even remember Postmates. It's just okay, but I feel like Amazon could really do it well.
Yeah,
the Seamless website is so janky.
Yeah, pretty much all of. So I feel like something that really stinks is that there are a lot of like companies that do the same thing as Seamless. Like there's Grubhub and Delivery.com and Foodler and like they all have, none of them have all the restaurants. Like they all have different they all have a subset of the restaurants you want. And yeah, it stinks. So
will that ever be solved though?
Maybe not. But at least, the very least is that like one of them could have an okay website.
That's true. And Postmates does have a pretty good website.
Yeah.
But
Delivery.com's website is all right. It's much better than the others in my opinion, but I haven't tried Postmates yet.
I think Go ahead.
This is the same complaint we have about streaming, but isn't like how big of a complaint is that you can't search for all the things in one spot?
It's kind of annoying.
Yeah, but I will say, though, back when I did order food on the internet and have it delivered to my house, I just went to Google, went to the restaurant's website, and then whatever they linked to from there was what I used. So yeah. I think Google really is the ultimate search engine, and it will come up regardless of what site you're ordering. Really.
That's
right. And so not that that's a good answer, because they really should all be on one. My problem with... and I'm happy to play devil's advocate here and say how this could go horribly awry, is that if this were to go even multi-city, even before national, I'd be concerned because I think local restaurants require an extra level of support that things like shipping boxes out of warehouses don't require. And so my concern would be, how does Amazon integrate with POS systems and making sure deliveries are done on time and are delivered.
Amazon's making its own POS system.
Well, and I think that's an interesting advantage. My question is, can they roll it out fast enough? Now, what's interesting to me is Square is it Square or is it...
it's Square.
Is it Square launched Caviar, which is their version of get food and have it delivered.
I did not know that.
Which is, and it was relatively quiet, but it's...
Oh, it acquired it.
They acquired it. Okay. And so that's more interesting to me because they have the POS. They're already in stores. I don't know. I feel like when you talk about a startup in a single city, you kind of have that relationship. And I would be concerned if I were a restaurant owner that, who are these Amazon guys? And are they really going to know what it takes to run my restaurant and what my customers need? And I think if Amazon can solve that, I think they could really take a lead in this. Because I think it's the first company. Anyone can build a website. Sorry, guys. Anyone can build a website. Anyone can take credit cards online. A million companies do it. Who can get the best relationship with these mom and pop restaurants?
You're not wrong. I agree with you. You're right.
Good. All right, keep going. Keep going.
That's all. That's all I've got. Well, the other cool thing is the other part of this, which I think would be their advantage. So the other thing they're launching is a messenger service. That's not what they're calling it. Delivery, basically a delivery service, right? So it'd be like Amazon Prime Now, where you get your thing delivered to you instantly. And in the way I didn't read the whole article. In fact, I didn't know about this until you posted it. I knew about the other thing. New York City, yeah. So New York City Bike Messenger to bring you the package you order within an hour. So if Amazon can provide you with orders and the fulfillment mechanism, you don't have to worry about keeping delivery people on staff. That could be cool.
Yeah, so it's...
And they definitely know how to do that.
They do. I'll just add a little background to that. This hasn't launched. The Wall Street Journal reports Amazon is staffing up to test a new service in New York City. Those close with the service believe the company's internal beta test currently runs for $5 for a 1-hour delivery, while those who can wait 2 or more hours, still same day, will get it for free under Prime. There's no word on when this would actually launch in beta, and it's the next best thing to drones delivered. I think you're exactly right. I think Amazon would love to cut the middleman. I mean, we've seen Amazon and even Google do their delivery services in cities same day, where they'll go to, and we've talked about it on the show, where they'll go to Target and Walgreens and you place your order and they'll deliver it to your house in a Google van or in an Amazon van. This is just even faster than that. And it makes sense in a city, I think, like New York City, where a bike messenger makes more sense than a van as opposed to more spread out cities. So I think these companies are happy to remove the middleman and get packages to customers as quickly and as efficiently as possible, because that's really where they make their money.
Yeah, I want it to be better.
I want it to be faster.
Also, there is this French fry place really far away. I think it's the one I know of is really far away. And Try Caviar, the square thing, delivers to my zip code from this amazing French fry place. Belgian French fries, pommes frites. Oh my gosh!
I think you're gonna have to try it.
It's all over. Should I order it now and see if it gets here by the end of the episode?
that would be impressive. And you know what? I think we may have to try that if Amazon rolls this out in New York City. We'd have to see if a package could get here in an hour.
Yeah, we would all get on the podcast, and each of us would order from a delivery service at the same time.
Well, mine would take at least 2 days to get here. Like it would.
But what would be impressive is which one would accept your order. Which one would commit to getting it to you? Would there be any restaurant, any service that would?
That could get it here within the hour. I bet I could get a pizza here within an hour. That seems reasonable.
Oh, that's cheating.
That's not. Well, you're going to get fries. I guess it would have to be outside of my own town.
You would have to be ordering through a service not owned by a restaurant.
Okay, there you go. I think that sounds like a good challenge. We'll have to give that a shot.
Yeah, it'll be like the trivia challenge, except we just eat a lot of food.
I was about to say, the last 10 minutes of the show will just be us just with mouths full of food. That sounds terrifying. Very good. So Amazon continuing to deliver things as you so desire them. Let's continue on to another story. And that story would be Firefox. I'm going to pick one. Let's talk about Firefox. You may know Firefox as the browser. Well, they want to make one for your mobile device on iOS. They've talked about it before, but at a all-hands-on Mozilla meeting in Oregon this week, there were some tweets from employees. This is not officially announced, but saying Firefox for iOS is coming. What's interesting is that, and I did not know this, and maybe you guys do, in iOS 8, Apple finally gave developers full access to its JavaScript engine, which had only been available to Safari. So now all the browsers can run as fast as Safari. So it's going to be interesting to see how Firefox comes up with an approach to iOS that I would assume approves upon existing browsers. I mean, would you guys have interest in using Firefox on iOS?
No. Because I stopped even using Chrome on iOS. Colby, do you use Chrome or Safari on iOS?
I just use Safari. The problem with iOS is it's too fucking annoying to like everything just opens in Safari anyways, so...
Is that still true?
I don't know. Maybe, but it already ruined other browsers for me. What were you saying, Sean?
I still use Chrome on my iOS devices, and I would say rarely, but not never, does something auto pop up in Safari, and it's usually when you're authenticating a service, so like a Dropbox or Twitter or something, and they want you to log in. By default, those go through Safari. But otherwise, a lot of apps now have that integration where they will open in Chrome. And I guess it depends on what apps you're using, but not that I have any problem with Safari, I just like the history syncing. And because I'm not a Mac user, I don't get that with Safari.
Right. I mean, I don't use Safari.
I'm sorry. Are we keeping you up,
Colby?
Can we get some coffee delivered to him in the hour?
Actually, yeah. It'll be, yeah. Hang on. You keep talking, Colby. I'll get you some coffee.
I don't use Safari on my Mac, but I feel like the thing... So I assume the reason Firefox has not existed on iOS to date is that Firefox has its own rendering engine, and what you still can't do, you still can't have your own, Apple won't let you build your own browser. You can build a browser that is based on top of, Safari WebKit, right? That's what Chrome is. Chrome is basically Safari with a different UI, which is not the case on, desktop. Mm-hmm. Desktop Chrome is not the same as desktop Safari. It has a different rendering engine. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see if Mozilla tries that. Because I think if they did and Apple let them, it would be cool. But I don't know. I'm not sure I understand why Apple doesn't. Why they care so much. It's unclear to me. What?
About the browser?
Yeah, about the rendering engine stuff.
I don't understand except maybe App Store guidelines. What's technically stopping you from writing a rendering engine in C? I mean, all rendering engines are in C. Surprise. But, why can't you run that on iOS? I don't know.
App Store guidelines? I think you're exactly right.
Yeah. I guess.
I mean, Apple has such a tight control, and they can. I saw today. I wish I remember the name of an app. There was an iOS app that got rejected. An update to the app got rejected from the App Store because Apple wouldn't allow them to send out of the app into iCloud. The Apple would not. Let them. Yeah, did you see that?
That was Transmit from Panic, their Panic's FTP client.
Yeah, because Apple said you can't apparently put files that aren't generated on your iOS device in iCloud through an app.
Yeah.
So they shut them down.
Why would you want an FTP client on iOS?
Probably work, right? I feel like there are still places that use FTP for things.
What? There's no file system on iOS to upload files to.
The apps make a file system. I've used a similar app. It's actually within the app. So it's considered app data as the files it all lives within the app.
I mean, it's like Dropbox, right?
Yeah, when you save files locally, it's the same idea. The app itself will be gigabytes in size because it has all your files in it. I think when it comes to Firefox on iOS, I don't think anyone's going to use it because it's a superior browser. I think it's for the same reason people use Chrome on mobile devices, and it all comes back to that syncing. I think to your average person, all browsers are the same. And I think no one's going to go on and say, I have to have Firefox on my phone. I think they're perfectly fine with Safari, perfectly fine with Chrome. However, they do want the browser that has their history synced so they can click on the last page they were on their mobile phone on their laptop. They want their bookmarks synced. I think that's where the value comes in, and I think Firefox needs to be there on mobile devices if they want any kind of traction in the desktop space, because I think it is about the ecosystem these days when it comes to browsers. And if they're not on mobile, they're not anywhere.
What ecosystem? Yeah. Oh, like syncing and stuff?
Yeah, Firefox Sync.
I mean, Firefox is on Android, and they also have Firefox OS. They're on. Let's be real. Android is the mobile phone market. iOS as much as we like to pretend iOS is big here, it's not big in the grand scheme of things. It's like 17%.
Well, see, Mozilla and Firefox are such a weird case because for any other company, like Google, for example, there may be more Android users, but iPhone users spend more and are more affluent, which means for marketing and for making money as a company, you want to be on iOS. But Mozilla is weird and funny like that, where they don't have to care about making money.
Well, yeah, because they're a nonprofit.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the other thing, too. Mozilla is like, I feel like they're kind of like the good guy in, like, or they're certainly not the bad guy. Like, I feel like they have the best, I don't know. When you think not douchey, you think Mozilla.
That should be their slogan. That's really good. When you think not douchey.
I wish I could tweet that. I mean, you just broadcast it for the whole internet to hear, but...
Well, I can look and tell you how many people saw it. No, I won't, because it's kind of terrifying. So anyway, Firefox...
On the front page of Reddit right now, Colby.
No, but it's true. They're really nice. I got to work with some people from Mozilla when I was at Facebook, and they were just the best. They were so like genuinely concerned with the well-being of people and the internet at large. It was really nice and inspiring.
I'm far too cynical for that. I'm way far gone. Let's continue on in the news to yet another story. Any particular one you want to talk about before we continue?
Colby, it's your turn.
Oh, streaming? Is that a surprise?
Oh, that less people are watching cable television and more people are streaming? I suppose it's not, but it is a statistic we can report. The fine folks at Nielsen, which was funny because I actually, at a conference I was at, met with a couple of marketing reps from Nielsen who just would not stop about how they're not just TV ratings. Like, that was their whole big thing. It's like, seriously, though, we do, like, seriously, guys, we're not just TV. So here they are reporting on TV ratings. Nielsen viewing figures show that over the last year, online video streaming is up 60%, while traditional TV viewing fell by 4% in the same time period. Now, what does that mean? A, more video watching is happening overall across all devices, whether it's traditional TV or mobile or whatever. But it also means that a lot more is happening streaming. And it's also important to note that that streaming figure includes laptops, desktops, and mobile devices. It does not include game consoles, streaming devices like Roku or Chromecast. So that number could be even higher.
That seems silly.
And that's really the whole story.
I'm kind of surprised. Like, did we really think that streaming was going to win? Like, it would be everyone's choice?
Well,
or that the people who want it even register on that scale?
Well, I want to point out and bring this a little bit back down to earth. An average American last month watched 11 hours of streaming video and more than 141 hours of live television. So it's still a massive gap. It's just
per month?
Per month.
Oh, my word.
So it's 10%. Actually, it's less than 10%. So, I think that's to be kept. So it's growing by a big. 60% year over year is a big growth, especially, like I said, considering it doesn't count a lot of trendier devices that are taking off. And I will predict, I think this Christmas is going to be one of the biggest sellers is going to be streaming devices. Rokus and Fire TVs and Apple TVs and Chromecasts. I think we're going to see an absurd number of those sold. So that number could get even higher.
Cool. I mean, I don't know. I like streaming. I don't like TV. I do like
100 hours.
141 hours of live television a month for your average American.
That's mind-blowing. I'm pretty sure I watch
that's almost an entire week of their month.
Well, your average American watches something like 8 to 10 hours a day.
That's not even
6
possible.
6 days of that month was the average American spent watching TV.
Yeah. Well,
Oh my god!
Yeah, the numbers are they're staggering. Now, again, that's an average, right? So you have to remember there are going to be outliers, but...
And there are a lot of people who do more.
Yeah. Well, I look at this, like 11 hours of streaming video a month. That's average. I know I watch that in a Saturday on Netflix, so that is not...
There have been Saturdays where I've done that, but I watch maybe an hour, not even an hour a day, a half an hour a day. Like, I'll watch something with dinner. That'll be it.
So to counteract you, that means someone else has to watch like 23 and a half hours of television a day to get us to that average. Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about this. Because clearly there are plenty of people I know who do this, and they're perfectly fine people. But I feel like you shouldn't do this.
Well, and I'm going to try and throw a wrench in there. Think of all the people who 20 years ago read a newspaper or stared out the window on their train commute an hour a day or 2 hours a day. Now they're watching streaming video on those commutes. I think there's more places now where you can watch video where a traditional television would not have allowed you to. Because primetime was 3 hours a night between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. And to me, I don't think primetime no longer applies. So maybe you got up in the middle of the night and couldn't sleep. Now you're watching streaming video. You got up early before going to work. You're watching streaming video. I just think there's more places and opportunities. It's not that Americans just aren't going to work and sitting and watching TV. That's at least how I think it would be explained. And I'd also be curious.
I would buy that.
I'll also note that video watching on smartphones increased 14% over the same time period. So on just smartphones alone, that's 14% growth. So
I have twice in my life watched a TV show or feature-length movie on a mobile device. Once it was on an iPad, and once it was on a phone. How about you two?
I used to watch, like, before... Like, when I was in California, sometimes I would watch, like, Netflix on my iPad in bed.
Oh, no. I'm not counting that. You can't do it at home.
Doesn't count.
Because we're talking about new places that you would watch.
I mean, I've done it on a plane. I do sometimes. I watch, like, YouTube videos and stuff on my phone on the train sometimes. Maybe I should be watching Netflix.
Yeah, you've got unlimited data, right?
Yes.
Use it. Yeah, the only time I think I've ever done that is live sports. You know, if there's a particularly good football game or, you know, something's in the last minute and I have to leave the house, I'll throw it on the phone or tablet. But outside of that, no, I don't. But then again, I rarely leave my house, so that could explain it.
Colby, would you watch things outside of your house on a mobile device? Stream. Or download and bring with you?
I mean, in certain situations, yes. Would you?
Not regularly.
I don't think so. But I don't think...
Because I definitely don't do it regularly. But I see a lot of people on the subway who do.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm outside of my house, it's because I'm doing something else and I'm not, like, sitting around watching TV. But like I said, maybe tomorrow I'll try watching Netflix on the train and I'll let you know how it goes.
You'll have to report back.
Actually, I might work from home tomorrow because it's supposed to rain.
So you'll just spend all day watching Netflix then and not do any work?
Shh.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Good thing this isn't broadcast. Yeah, I think watching video on a mobile device is more attention than I want to give my mobile device. Because, like, if I'm just checking Twitter, which is a lot of what I do when I'm killing time on my phone, or even playing a game, you're not as involved in it as you have to be watching video. I'm very uncomfortable. Even sitting on a train, I don't know how comfortable I'd be with 2 headphones in, eyes on the screen, not aware of what's going on around me. I'm just that kind of person. So, to me, that's something, unless I'd absolutely need it, I wouldn't necessarily think to do, but that might just be me. I want to thank Colby for sending us this link, because now I have to show it on the show. One of my favorite things, and I'm sure there's a great Tumblr, and maybe I'll find one and recommend it next week, of hilarious stock images. And there's this great article on The Verge of a new trend in stock images, which is women laughing alone with their tablets. It's very creepy.
Yes.
There's this woman cheering. There's this woman laughing hysterically in what looks like her kitchen. This lady on the couch. And actually, do they have the? I have to see if I can find, because you just reminded me. There is a really great. I don't know if you've seen the Fire, the Amazon Fire Kindle commercial.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
with this really creepy lady. And I can't quite figure out what her deal is, because here it is. And I will just play. Oh my God, they're showing me an ad before this ad. Come on. Come on, YouTube. And what's funny is it's an ad for Windows 8, which I think is funny on a Kindle Fire.
Targeted to you.
I guess someone's making money off of me watching this commercial.
Oh, speaking of Windows 8, the number of those like MacBook versus Surface Pro commercials that they play during the football game. Oh my God. The number is too damn high.
They do air a lot of those.
They haven't convinced me yet.
No.
Maybe a couple more though. You never know. I might just buy a Surface Pro. Never use a Mac again.
How many ads would you have to hear before you bought one, just to get them to stop? Like over what period?
I don't know. Probably like. Did you ever see that episode of Family Guy when Stewie kidnaps Quagmire in Cleveland and chains them in the basement, watching the DirecTV like
help
how
channel?
to use your and then like 2 days later, and it cuts like no one ever finds them in the basement. It cuts to them like 2 days later, and they're just staring like eyes wide open, just repeating the hour-long help channel. It's pretty hilarious. But I don't know, maybe 2 days of straight commercial.
I also pasted a link in the chat of something I was reminded of. Obama participated in an hour of code today, which is not in the rundown, but maybe something we should talk about. I don't know anything about Hour of Code, except that Obama's wearing a baseball cap that says code on it and is fist bumping this woman, and they're both looking at a laptop. It's a Windows laptop. It's a Windows laptop. That's why I was thinking about it.
Okay.
Excellent image.
That girl's hairdo is P. Cray. That's pretty intense.
That's pretty much Barack Obama, the first U.S. president ever to code.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he actually did, to be fair.
He made a square appear on the screen. I think that's what I read.
I can do that in Photoshop in like 2 minutes, so I don't know what he's talking about. But
you do it without Photoshop, though?
Well, why would you? They already have Photoshop, Dan.
Because Photoshop takes so long to load. You might as well start from scratch. You'll get it done.
And then it'll eventually get done. Barack Obama teaching young people to code. He's a hero. Let's continue on. How are we doing on time here? We're just having so much fun. We've got time for more news.
More news?
More news.
More?
Let's talk about Uber.
Again?
I know.
Didn't we do our big Uber Palooza last week?
We did, but I'm concerned about Uber.
Actually, since then, I have unintentionally doubled the amount of times I've used Uber, from 2 to 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how was that experience?
It was real. Well, they were both really interesting. So when I used Uber for the third time last week at like 5 a.m. taking a car to JFK from Midtown, the airport, and I talked to this guy the whole way, and he was from the Dominican Republic, and he had lived all over the U.S., but he just moved to the United States, or just moved to New York, and this was his first day as an Uber driver.
Wow.
Picking me up. It wasn't his first ride of that day, but his first day picking me up and driving me to JFK. He did a very nice job. And his daughter is going on a high school trip to India. It was totally bizarre. Then in San Francisco, of course, because you need to take an Uber to go everywhere. And I was shocked. I was staying at this Airbnb, and the host, I was like, I'm trying to get to Powell Street. Just making small talk. How should I get there? I could look it up on Google, but I thought I'd ask. And she was like, you just walk, a couple blocks that way and then a couple blocks over, or you just take an Uber. I looked up on Google Maps. It was 15 minutes walking away. I'm going to just walk. I've got 15 minutes. I'll just walk. It's fine. But then I did have to take an Uber from there, like a half an hour away drive. So that was good. And I was like in a car with an actual grandmother who was actually an Uber driver, which is something I feel like Uber says, like, oh yeah, our drivers from all walks of life. And, some of them are just like school teachers or grandmothers just making some money on the side. This was an actual grandmother making money on the side.
Nice.
Wow.
And she was really a pleasure to talk to as well. So despite how much I dislike Uber superficially, I did end up using them twice last week.
So your story about the woman suggesting you take Uber for like a 10-minute walk, or the person, I don't know if it was a woman, a man or a woman, your Airbnb host. I once heard a story about some people who would take Uber to the grocery store and just have the driver wait there for them to go in and get their groceries and come out instead of using like Instacart or something. And it would end up being cheaper. It's madness.
It ended up being cheaper?
I think so. I don't know if that was a true story. It was
a tech urban legend.
One of those
it
fanciful
could have
San
been an
Franciscan
urban
tales.
Yeah. But
well,
that seems ridiculous.
Soon they're coming to Asia.
They're coming to literally everywhere. Uber announced today they got another $1.2 billion in venture capital, raising its total raised to $2.7 billion. An interesting fun fact, if you had invested $10,000 in Uber's first seed round, not counting for dilution of stock, that would now be worth $80 million. Think about that. So my question is, if I'm Lyft or Rideshare or any of their competitors, how do I possibly compete with $2.7 billion in cash? Like, I don't know how Uber can't not win.
They could fuck up really bad.
Well, they'd have to self-destruct, right? No,
Like
and you're honestly right. But even, I mean, think of the stuff they have done already, and they're still growing and doing fine. I mean, what would they have to do to really end themselves? I mean, I think really their only barrier is regulation, right? Because the governments are the only ones big enough to really put a dent in their growth, unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, I feel like...
I wonder how this will do abroad, though, because I don't believe Uber is very big internationally. Like, I know in Ireland and the UK, it's Halo is the big one. I know that there's Uber in France, but I don't know if they're anywhere near as dominant in any of those other countries than the US. So there could very well be another established player in Asia. I don't know, but I would bet that there is at this point. And that's been a big blocker for, I just had a good example. Name another company. Etsy, for example, really big in the U.S., not nearly as big in most other parts of the world. So it could grow to dominate the U.S., but that only gets you so far if you can't capture a lot of the international market, too. Like, Google's done a good job with that, but a lot of other U.S.-based companies have not, like Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would imagine it'll probably be, like, going international for them will probably be tough because, I don't know, I feel like they're going to have way more regulation-y things to deal with. And dealing with stuff like that is hard enough in one country, never mind, like, a million different countries. So I'm sure it'll be interesting. I feel like that's still, even here, like the regulation stuff is still a question mark. Like it's still at the point where government, I feel like the government both state and federal are still kind of like in the process of realizing that this is happening.
Yeah.
I mean, they certainly haven't figured things out in most
They're
places.
in the process of realizing that a lot of things are happening.
Yes. Yeah.
They've got a lot to realize. So it's a lot to ask.
Well, and I think that's interesting. I don't know if you saw the news today, but Portland, Oregon, lovely city, banned Uber. Uber went ahead and launched anyway, and now Portland has filed suit against Uber for breaking the law. But they have $2 billion, so I don't know what the government can really do to them. I mean, what's interesting is, it's estimated Uber will generate $1.5 to $2 billion of revenue this year. Now, for a 4-year-old company, I mean, that's really astounding growth, but you're absolutely right. I think international expansion, A, they haven't done much of, B, is going to be difficult because there's already a lot of people who are kind of warning them and saying slow down. And just the fact that they could grow too quickly, and we've seen cracks in their infrastructure, and, how do you support... We saw Twitter's growing pains. I mean, how long did we have the fail whale, a company that was growing faster than its infrastructure could support it, and it took years to kind of iron out and fix those problems. So I'd be interested to see Uber, which is a completely different kind of company, a company that has physical bodies on the ground, that has physical vehicles. That's a totally different ballgame than a Twitter or a Facebook. So I don't know. I think either way, it's going to be a great story to tell down the road. But I just look at this and say I would not want to be a competitor to Uber right now.
No.
That's fair. But then again, if they screw up terribly, where are people going to go? Lyft or whoever.
Have you ever tried any of the other ones, Colby?
I've used Lyft before. I've never used Sidecar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of any of the others. Lyft, it was fine. I just never, I mean, I think I called Lyft myself one time. And all the other times I went in it, someone else called it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, mostly the same, it seems. We never had a problem with one versus the other. I've had more problems with Uber here than I ever had in San Francisco, though.
In Boston or in the East Coast?
In Boston.
I didn't know you'd used Uber in Boston.
A couple of times, but I avoid it now. So part of the problem is it's getting to my apartment is a little bit tricky, and it is fairly common that the driver takes the wrong turn and ends up going down the highway and has to go all the way down and turn around.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty annoying. So I kind of avoid doing it from here. And I've had other times where I got a driver who was in Cambridge, and he called me and he was like, "I'm 45 minutes away from you." I was like, "Oh, well, I'll find another way to get back then, because I could walk back in 45 minutes."
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I haven't used it in a while though, mostly because I haven't been home on the weekend in a while. But
well, there you go. Uber rolling in it. Let's continue on. We got time for one more story before we get to our picks this week. And I want to quickly talk about this because I think it's kind of funny, and maybe that's just me. But that would be the smart people over at Sony who, to be honest, haven't had a great week. They've had their share of issues. But they had a big PlayStation 4 event this week, and one of my favorite things they took out of this was customizable faceplates for your PS4. Now you're saying, Sean, how can they have customizable faceplates? Did they change the device or the hardware? No, they just decided they were going to put stickers on the hard drive bay cover of your existing PS4 and say they're new faceplates. And just decided that was a thing at the last minute, which I thought was really funny.
It's a sticker?
Well, no, I'm sorry.
No.
That's not fair. They are,
You remove the hard drive cover and you put a different hard drive cover on.
Right. I don't know how they put the picture on the new hard drive cover. They could be stickers.
They could be. I hope not, though.
But you do buy new covers. But I just like this because it seems like such a thing where some engineer at Sony was like, well, this cover comes off. What if we could sell them another cover and make $25 on it? And it's so genius. So
they're not wrong.
And there are 2 currently available, one for The Order 1886 and Little Big Planet 3, now available in limited quantities at the Sony store. So go to your local Sony store.
Where's that?
They have them.
I'm sure there's one in New York.
Have you ever been to a Sony store?
I've been to a Sony store in New York. I thought it was the only one, though.
No, they have a couple in like really big malls or in cities. It's kind of like a Microsoft stores where they're kind of limited, but they're weird. Sony stores are weird.
Sony stores are kind of old, right?
Yeah.
Like they've been around for a while.
My guess would be they probably date back to like Gateway stores. Like they go back.
Gateway stores.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back when you used to go to a store to buy a computer. That wasn't the Apple store.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Can you believe it?
What were they thinking back then?
What were they thinking? Your guess is as good as mine. Anyway, I just want to quickly mention that because I think that's amusing. Sony figuring out ways to make money after they bleed from their entertainment division. Poor guys. All right. Well, I think that's it for news. We're going to move on to picks, and we have quite a stacked list of picks. And we're going to begin in reverse order of last week, which means Dan Miller gets to go first.
Holy smokes!
I'm jazzed. Tell me more.
All right, let me open up this link real quick. Sean, if I share my screen, will you have
We'll make it work. Yeah,
all
sure.
right.
What's the worst?
I just want to put this beautiful web page up there. So I downloaded this app over the weekend called Super. It's kind of difficult to find in the App Store, so you should probably, and it's available on iOS and Android. You should probably just go to super.me to get it.
I just searched for it in the App Store, and it was the first result.
Huh. That did not work for me over the weekend. So it's this really weird app. It's so hard to describe. You kind of make pictures, and you start with a prompt. It's sort of like a status, or like, watch this, or I love, watch, or I love, or let's see, what else do they have? The best, the worst, crazy, I'm all, wishing, I'm thinking. And then you can type something there, or you can put a picture there and you can sign it. So I made one right at the beginning of this podcast that was, watch, don't panic, from D. Miller. And I got some responses. I got 4 hearts, and someone responded, and I still don't know how to use the app yet. There we go. One response, which was, exactly, and don't forget your towel. So I have no idea what that could possibly mean. Maybe it's a joke I don't get. But it's a fun app to mess around with. So super.me, play around with it. Let me know if you get it, because I'm not sure I do get it.
Cool. Do you have a username on there you want to give people?
Oh, I do. I got the D. Miller username. Finally. I got the D. Miller username on a social network. So.
Exciting.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This comes out of Biz Stone's company, Jelly.
Yeah, who made the question answering app from last summer.
Yeah, that everyone probably forgot about. So use this before everyone forgets about it.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Well, they have that 1Password integration for their sign-up flow. Feels good.
Yeah.
Feels real good.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. Colby, you're up next, and we got another dual pick, and I'm actually excited for the hardware side of this.
Okay. So my first pick is well, actually, this is second on the list, but it's this game called Trine 2. I got a second PS4 controller last week or 2 weeks ago, and my girlfriend and I have been playing games, and one of them, which has been picked on the show before, is Towerfall, which is lots of fun. But we've also been playing Trine, which is I don't know what to call it exactly. It's kind of a puzzle game, but it's like it's like a 3D side scroller type deal. And you get to play as like a wizard, this knight guy, or like an Assassin's Creed lady. But it's fun. It's like, it looks pretty cool. It's
Can we call her an archer or like a rogue or something instead of the Assassin's Creed lady?
I like Assassin's Creed lady.
Okay. I mean, yeah, those are applicable words too. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun though, and it looks pretty cool. It has kind of a neat style. It's like it's almost storybook fantasy kind of. It's a little whimsical.
Yeah.
But so one thing that's, in addition to being fun, it also supports 3D. So if you have a 3D television, which I do, which I had never used before, you can throw on your 3D glasses and play Trine in more dimensions than you're used to. And once in a while, it's kind of cool. It's pretty neat. So yeah, there's that. And also, I got my new Kindle. I got the Kindle Voyager, or I think that's what it's called.
Let me tell you a story.
Yeah. So I had before this, I had like 3 Kindles ago. I think I had the Kindle before the original Paperwhite. So like, I had the Kindle that still had side buttons, like without a touch screen. And it still works totally fine, which we definitely talked about. But I got this new one, and it's like amazeballs. It's like exactly the same. Nothing is worse, and all the new things are better. So it has like the high resolution screen, which is pretty cray. And then it has nice, like for the Voyager, they added, so you can still swipe on the screen if you want to turn that way, but it also has these like pressure buttons on the side that you kind of like press lightly with your finger and they turn the page, which I like. And the other cool thing is that the screen is like the whole screen, the whole front of the device is flat. So like, I think on every Kindle before this, the screen was kind of inset in the front, so it's flat now. And the other thing is the backlight. That's really cool. I've yet to use it at night, but in general, it's still like it auto like brightens and darkens itself, and I don't know. It makes it really easy to read everywhere. Sometime I'm just going to turn off the lights and read in the dark just because I can. But it's really cool. I like it a lot. So if you don't have a Kindle, or your old Kindle has reached the end of its lifespan, definitely go for that because it's really nice.
Very good. Very good.
What do you got for us, Sean?
Well, I did just want to quickly mention Trine2.com. It is $19.99 on Steam and available on PS4. You can get it there. I also want to mention the Kindle Voyage Touch, available from Amazon.com for $219 without special offers. Links to those and all our picks are available on our website, don'tpanic.io. Always like to squeeze in that information. I have 2 picks, so I teased the first half of my picks last week. As part of my nerdy obsession with the origins of television, because I think it's so interesting, especially as it changes, right? The end of the network is almost coming soon. How soon will we have a television network? Who knows? But where did they come from, right? That's the $1 million question. So last week I gave you 2 books, ESPN, those guys have all the fun, and I Want My MTV, the uncensored history of MTV. And this week I have 2 new networks and 2 new books on 2 new stories. The first I'm going to talk about is called Slimed, an oral history of Nickelodeon's golden age. This is an interview-style book written in chronological order where they interview all of the stars, the executives, and all the people who kind of launched Nickelodeon. What I really enjoyed about this book was this, more so than any of the other books I picked on the show, this one talks more with the stars of the network than any other book. And I'm not sure if that's because they had more access or what. But this is really kind of focused on the stars angle, and that's really interesting because they were obviously kids. So it talks about how they started on these shows and some of the really early days of Nickelodeon, which shows that some of us older kids, 90s Nickelodeon kids, may not know about 80s Nickelodeon, but it kind of gives an interesting look at Nickelodeon and the origin of that. It's available on Amazon. It's called Slimed. My second pick, which is probably, I think, the best story out of the 4 books that I picked, is called From Scratch, The Uncensored History of the Food Network. And this is told in a more narrative style. This talks to, from day one, the start of the Food Network as Food TV, which they couldn't get the name, so they called it Food Network, with the men who started it, the cable company who started it, and goes all the way to how they found all the stars, talk to the stars, talk through some of the controversy, so whether it's Paula Deen or Robert Irvine, some of the sort of controversies. And I think this one, A, because it's written in a narrative style, which I like, but also B, because the stars were, especially the executives too, were very honest. So I think the story here is really interesting, and there's a lot in here you may not know, like Food Network's early days that, you know, there was no system in place. The whole show, none of the equipment on the sets worked. The sinks had pipes that didn't go to anywhere, so they had interns dumping out buckets when the stars would use the sinks. A lot of kind of interesting behind-the-scenes stuff that make for a really interesting book. That's From Scratch, The Uncensored History of the Food Network. It's also available on Amazon and Kindle. So those are my 2 picks. Get yourself learned up on the history of television with those books.
That's awesome.
Yeah, fun reading. I gotta get back into reading. I don't read as much.
Well, it sounds like you have.
I've read these books not that long ago, but they've been spaced out. The last book, I just finished Amy Poehler's new book, Yes Please, which was pretty good. That was an enjoyable read. I finished that on the plane. But I don't get to... Maybe I need a fancy Kindle. Maybe that's my excuse to start reading more.
Yeah, there you go.
Anything to justify buying more stuff, right? Yeah. We are Americans, after all. Very good. That concludes our show this week. Gentlemen, do you have anything else you would like to share with the fine folks of America before we conclude for this evening?
Stay safe out there.
Wow, that is excellent. Immortal words by Dan Miller. I will say that everyone should go to our website, don'tpanic.io, and get past episodes, current episodes, all the episodes, audio, video, on a beautiful website put together by 2 engineers whose name I completely forget. But their efforts were not in vain. It's a great website. You should go there. Links to our social medias there as well. Be sure to follow us. And as I said, coffeeandbeer.tv/giveaway is the form. Fill it out. And all the rules and restrictions are also on that page if you're interested as well. So get yourself some free stickers. Free stickers. Who doesn't love stickers? You can put them on things. Very good. We'll be back next Monday with a brand new episode talking more technology. And yeah, that's the grand conclusion to this program. We thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week for an all-new episode of Don't Panic. But until then, good night.
Peace out.
This show is brewed fresh weekly by the Coffee and Beer Podcast Network. Get all our shows at our website, coffeeandbeer.tv.